Hey guys, me Sam Stein. So like a little while ago, I was on MSNBC, Nicolle Wallace's show, and we got into it with a couple other people on the topic of, you guessed it, Jeffrey Epstein. But we were focusing a little bit more specifically on why the manosphere is turning on Trump, whereas other elected Republicans maybe not. And I think there's some interesting reasons to explain or at least extrapolate as to why that's the case. And then we kind of beat around what is to me actually like the most perplexing question, which is why are they going through seemingly this incredible preferential treatment to Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, what is the actual reason for doing this? Is it literally to get her to spill the beans on everyone else other than Donald Trump? And if so, don't they think that might not look good to be catering to the convicted, sex trafficker, accused and convicted from some of the most heinous crimes? I've been perplexed by this one. I think the panel was kind of perplexed by this one too. Nicolle seemed to be searching for answers just as much as I was. Anyways, we did 2 segments. Hopefully we can get both of those in for you. If you like what you see, do subscribe to this feed as well, where we can recap what we're talking about here and on TV. Hope you enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sam Stein. What seems to be weighing on folks like Joe Rogan on the Epstein story is to be publicly made a fool of, right? So he loaned his massive audience. He has a massive audience, and they listened for a very long time. They listened to him for all 3 hours, and they trust him and believe him. And so he's at the hinge point of being, and again, I'll keep quoting him, quote, what do they think we're babies? Treated like a baby and a fool by Donald Trump, who has had moved Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of, among other things, asking girls, and a lot of Republicans have daughters. These weren't women. These were girls. These were girls under 16 years old, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls. Donald Trump described them as his property, saying, quote, I didn't like that he took them, the ones that worked at Mar-a-Lago. Ghislaine Maxwell frequented Mar-a-Lago. He is swirling around with convicted sex traffickers, and I haven't seen a single frantic press availability where people peppered him or anyone in his administration with questions about what they're doing moving a convicted sex criminal. Have you?
Not that I can put my finger on, to be honest. I mean, there's been questions here or there, and then he moves on very quickly to a follow-up or a different question, I should say, in a kind of a deft manner, I suppose. But yeah, he's not allowed himself to be pinned down, and he doesn't sit for lengthy interviews necessarily in a way that would allow it for. Now, you asked about the Manosphere too, which I think is kind of interesting because that's the type of format where you could see this exchange happening, right? It's lengthy. They care about these issues. They're known as long conversations where there are lots of follow-ups. I think one of the reasons that you see Joe Rogan, for instance, getting upset about this is precisely because he does feel misled. And it wasn't just that Trump promised him X, Y, or Z. It's that quite literally Trump-world figures went on Joe Rogan and promised him X, Y, and Z. And so you have video of Kash Patel on the show saying, this is the most important issue of our time. We need to get these files exposed. We need transparency. And then, of course, Kash Patel's the one who comes out there and says there's nothing in the files. And so there's a level of deceit that I think people are trying to grapple with. The other thing, though, is that a lot of these Manosphere broadcasters make their, bones in conspiracy theories, right? I mean, Joe Rogan pushes a lot of conspiracy theories. I think he would admit that. And if you are now seeing another cover-up on top of a conspiracy theory, it's gonna tickle you a little bit. It's gonna make you angry a little bit. It's gonna cause you to wonder what your priors were telling you. And I think that's what's happening here as well, is that these people who are not traditionally political, who got into politics because they were conspiracy theories around it that drew them in there, now feel like that conspiracy might go a little bit deeper than they thought.
So when Trump says he's going to send the worst of the worst to CCOT, doesn't it make more sense politically? I'm just coming back to my time in the Manosphere here, Sam. Doesn't it make more sense politically for him to send Ghislaine Maxwell to CCOT in El Salvador as opposed to a more cozy prison?
Well, I appreciate that you keep coming to me for the Manosphere questions. I will read into that.
Either one of you. I'm just trying to understand what he's doing with her. Or what we don't have any evidence. He's doing anything. What
Yes.
what his administration is doing with her.
All stipulated. But I've struggled with this exact question because on the surface, going lenient on someone who was convicted of the horrific crimes that Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted of makes absolutely no sense, right? I mean, it creates an obvious vulnerability, not to mention the morality of it. And yet here we are. And whether or not Todd Blanche or Donald Trump has instructed the Bureau of Prisons to transfer her, who knows? But what we do know is that Todd Blanche met with her. What we do know is that Donald Trump repeatedly has said he has the right to pardon her in public. The type of generosity that would not be extended to anyone else who was accused and convicted of these crimes. So why? And I guess I come back to sort of Charlie's explanation, which is, in theory, perhaps she could say something akin to like, well, I was there and Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Case closed. And then he would use that and say, see, the case is closed. But the idea that you would have to jump through these hurdles to get to this point, dangle a pardon, a more lenient sentence, potentially giving her a better, more cushy prison facility. I mean, that is itself troubling and creates its own set of problems. And certainly it's being noticed.